It's now 8 years since Graham Hill, one of motor racing's greatest characters, was lost to the sport, tragically killed in a plane crash. Since that time, his 23-year-old son, Damon Hill, has been racing motorbikes. And at Brands Hatch yesterday, wearing his father's helmet, he made his motor racing debut in the Grandstand Formula Ford 2000 trophy. Reporting from the circuit is Murray Walker.
Damon Hill's introduction to motor racing was like something from a boy's own paper story. After spending the whole of his life surrounded by the sport and being no mean motorcycle racer, he had decided to follow in his world-famous father's footsteps, making his debut at the same track as his dad had exactly 30 years before. But how much car racing experience had Damon had?
Very little. I went to a school in France in April. I did 3 days there. And then I went back in October for another series of 3 days, and then went back for the semi-finals at school, and that's it.
You're on the verge of your first race. What are your hopes and ambitions? Where do you want to go in the sport?
Well, I'd like to go to the top. I don't expect to put in a dazzling performance today on my limited experience, but I'm doing this 5-race series, and I'd like to, by the end of it, at least have some decent placings.
We're all talking about you today. We're naturally talking about your father. I think we're all tending to lose sight of the fact that motor racing costs money, and a lot of it, even Formula Ford that you are in. Where's the money coming from, and are you looking for sponsorship, or are you happily set up already?
Well, in a sort of a gesture to my father, who started here racing at Brands Hatch. Brands Hatch has sponsored me for this 5-race series, but as far as next year goes, I'm going to have to find the money, somewhere in the region of £30,000, to go racing Formula 4 2000 competitively.
Are you worried about today? You're getting the most incredible amount of exposure.
I'm not as nervous as I have been for bike races, I must admit. I've done a few pro-ams that have had me quite biting my nails sort of quick. I haven't had time to think about it, I don't think.
An emotional day, too, for Damon's mother, Betty, who'd seen his father rise from a club racer to world champion. Mixed feelings about Damon?
It's brand new again. It's starting again, isn't it? I mean, it's 8 years since Graham died, so I haven't had a stopwatch in my hand since then, really, except, you know, an occasional bike meeting. But, yeah, I was very nervous for him, and I didn't realise they went so fast.
Worried?
A little anxious, of course, yes.
Well, nobody could have a better or a more understanding mum than Damon's got, but how would you hope to be able to help him from now on?
Oh, just make sure that he's got clean overalls and things like that, and warm socks and just everything that he needs.
You must know a lot of people in the industry and in the sport that could give him.
Well, I've twisted a few arms, yes, mainly because I wanted to get him off bikes.
You are both reserves now, Damon. Do the warm-up lap, but come in dangerous.
After qualifying as first reserve, but having to pull off the circuit at the end of the warm-up lap, with the bitter knowledge that he was not to race today, Damon was literally recalled from the paddock as a dramatic crash had stopped the race and damaged 2 cars. So, the race was restarted and Damon Hill was in to repeat history and hopefully to make it. First experience of driving in race traffic, what do you think of it?
It's pretty amazing, actually. It's unbelievable.
Well, in fact, Damon finished 19th out of 24, and the winner was teammate Anthony Reid. The next race in that series is at Thruxton on Saturday. Rugby League, and in the first round of the John Player Trophy, there were defeats for 5 First Division sides: Castleford, Bradford Northern, Oldham, Fulham and Wakefield. With the finish of the flat racing season last Saturday, Richard Pitman returns as the breakfast time tipster, and at Hexham he thinks that jockey Tony Charlton has a fine chance of landing a treble with Pauline's Pet in the 1:45, Pensinor at 3:15 and John Dale in the 3:45. But Richard's top selection for the day is Red Mills in the 3:30 at Nottingham. That's Red Mills in the 3:30 at Nottingham. Fern.
Thank you. It's 6:45 exactly, and coming up in the next 15 minutes, the Reverend's Restaurant, the top people's cafe where the chef is a Catholic priest. But first, it's time for the news, weather and traffic information from your own regional studios.